It's that time of year. Frank Kitzacria, local moron, crazy person, way too much time on his hands, picks all 256, scratch that, 272 games, then does all 13 playoff games. It's a total of 285 games before the season starts to tell you who's going to win your Super Bowl, who's going to be your number one pick, who's going to be the 14 teams in the playoffs, and who's going to be your surprises. Like and subscribe, hate, and comment. I've been doing this for 22 years, since I was a sophomore in college. I think I was a sophomore back then, 22 years ago. Does that make sense? Man thinking cap going on? No, I was a junior in college. And I did it with my friend Carl, and it was because we got tired of hearing people saying, yeah, I had Denver winning the Super Bowl, boo, boo, boo. And we were like, bullshit, prove it. And so we would pick every single game. We were the only ones that kept it up. Carl passed from this earth 8 years ago, but I've still continued the tradition. We have a couple of rules. No team goes undefeated. No team goes winless. Since the merger, only 2 teams have been undefeated. Of course, the 72 Miami Dolphins and the totally imperfect 2007 New England Patriots. Perfect season, 18-1. New York Giants, Super Bowl 42. On the other side of that pendulum, 3 teams have been completely winless. Tampa Bay in their first season. And then over the last 10 years, you've had the Lions and the Browns. We just don't think, and I've just never thought, that a team could go winless or undefeated. With that, I did have to think, could a team still go with only 1 loss or 1 win? I do, but you can only have 1 team with 1 loss or 1 team with 1 win. No team with the number 1 overall pick before trade will make the playoffs since 71, which would be the first full year after the merger. It's only happened once that a team that would have had the number 1 overall pick would have been in the playoffs. That, of course, is the Andrew Luck rookie season with Indianapolis. And because you have no sudden death overtime and 10-minute overtimes, I do allow for teams to tie, but only 1 per team. I have 2 ties this year. Cleveland and Chicago in week 3, and the Bengals and the Jags in their head-to-head contest. So I'm going to do the NFC first. The number 1 overall seed is your defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Bucks at 14-3. The worst team is the Detroit Lions at 3-14. They're the worst team in the NFC. They're not the worst team overall. The last team out is the Chicago Bears at 7-9-1. And the last team in is the Arizona Cardinals at 8-9, making them, in my prediction, the first team in a non-strike year to be in the playoffs as a wild card team with a losing record. It's happened twice with divisional champs. 3 times with divisional champs with Washington last year, but it's not happened in the wild card in a non-strike season. And I see it happening this year with Arizona at 8-9. Now, what could be the last game of the regular season on that Sunday night, I have as the Niners and the Rams. If the Rams win that game, they would be the 2 seed. If the Niners win that game, they are the 5 seed. And I have the Niners winning that game. So I have the Rams as your 6th seed, the Niners as your 5th seed. So I have the entire wild card coming out of the NFC West. I have the 2 seed as being Seattle, who, if they would have watched the Niners lose, would be your 5 seed. I have Dem Boys being the 3 seed, and I have Green Bay as your 4 seed. And I was kind of surprised when I did the thing. I kept thinking Dallas would have a better record. Now, I have Dallas going 11-6. I thought they would have a better record. And I actually have Washington with only 6 wins, and I have a bet with, a small bet, that they will not exceed 6 wins. But I have Dallas only going 11-6. And being your 3 seed, and I have Green Bay as your 4 seed. So, and then I'll go to the playoffs here in a minute. On the AFC side, I'm going to start with the worst team first. The worst team in the league is going to be the Houston Texans at 2-15. They are barely going to be worse, if that makes sense. They are barely going to be worse than Jacksonville at 3-13-1. That's a lot of odd numbers there. By the way, in the NFC, I have the Giants, I guess, losing the tiebreaker when it comes to the draft, and being the 15th worst team, 15th best team in the NFC. Now, the first team out in the AFC of the playoffs, I have as New England at 10-7. And this could be the team that they lose to in the final week of the season, the Dolphins, I think could be in that flex position for the last week. I have it as being the Rams and the Niners, but it could very well be the Dolphins and the Patriots. So the Dolphins revenging themselves of the 2020 season by winning that last week and ending up as the 6th seed. The 7th seed I have is the Chiefs. Now, you may be saying, why do I think they're going to be so bad? It's not that they're going to be so bad. It's because I have the AFC West overperforming. I have the Raiders as your 4 seed over a tiebreaker with the Chargers as the 5 seed. So I have, just like I have the West and the NFC being where the power is, I have the West and the AFC being where the power is. I have only one team from the North, that being Baltimore. I have Pittsburgh and Cleveland both with losing records. And in the South, it's just atrocious. I mean, the Colts are awful. Bengals are off. The Colts are awful. The Jags are awful. Houston are awful. I don't have the Colts winning a game until the 6th week of the season. I do have them finishing 2nd in the South, if that's a real prize. I have Baltimore 2nd overall. I have Tennessee as 3. And again, I have Vegas as 4. Now, I'm going to start the playoffs. In the NFC again, I have Tampa with a bye. I have Seattle beating Arizona. I have San Francisco upsetting Green Bay. And I have Dallas losing to the Rams. That means that it would be Tampa versus, so I got 3 Western teams going into the next round. I have Tampa playing the Rams, and I have Tampa advancing. I have Seattle hosting the Niners. I have Seattle winning that game. I have Seattle going into Tampa Bay and beating the Bucs. So I have Seattle, the team that I have been kind of flustered with, and I keep thinking that it's going to be a Western team. And of course, I did predict the Super Bowl right 2 years ago. But I keep thinking it's going to be Seattle. It's going to be Seattle. I'm always close with it. I think they do win the NFC this time. Now, on the other side of the pendulum, I have Buffalo, 14-3, the number 1 overall seed in the AFC, waiting at home. But they're going to play the Chiefs because I have the Chiefs beating Baltimore, because why not? Baltimore continues to struggle. And the reason why there has not been a contract extension to their quarterback will become pretty apparent as they will lose again. I have Miami defeating Tennessee, and I have Vegas defeating the Chargers. So in the next round, it would be Buffalo against Kansas City. Buffalo, with that bye, will overcome Pat Mahomes Jr., the second. Will host the AFC Championship. They will be hosting against Vegas, because I have Vegas going to beat Miami. By the way, I think Jimmy Garoppolo, by about week, I'm going to say 7, will be the Dolphins quarterback. The trade will happen. He will be traded, and he will be in a Dolphins uniform. That is my guess. I could be totally wrong, but that is my guess. Buffalo will beat Vegas in that frigid, cold hell of a landscape that is Buffalo. And Buffalo will be selling Orchard Park or Niagara County or wherever the Bills play. They will be selling that as, hey, do you really want to lose our team? Because they are going to win Super Bowl 56. I got Buffalo beating Seattle in the Super Bowl in LA, 29-20. So, that's my bet. So, to recap, I have Tampa Bay as your number 1 overall seed, but they will lose in the NFC Championship. I have Baltimore falling apart in the playoffs again. I have Buffalo running the table and winning the Super Bowl. I have the Giants being the 15th worst team in the NFC, so we can't even suck at sucking right. Detroit will be the worst team in the NFC, and overall, the worst team in the NFL will be from the Dirty South with Houston. And I don't even know if Houston has that number 1 pick anymore, because they made so many bad trades over the years. So like and subscribe, hate, and comment. We will see how bad I did. Last 2 years I've had the Jets making the playoffs. So I wore green to convince myself, please do not think that the Jets are going to win anything. And I have them as the 12th team in the AFC. So like and subscribe, hate, and comment. And we'll see you playoffs time.